good evening, and thank you. Because I know that all of you stay here, and it's Friday evening. You are young people, so thanks. But this is a very good thing, because we are going to change things. We need to change a lot of things. And just because you are here, this is just a good point. So now I will try to do my best. I think it will be quite different since the other speech, because I'm government, so I'm not going to be so technical. I'll try to do it something that I think it will be interesting for you, because I will try to make you understand that when we have to take decisions, we need to know why, and which is the problem, and which are the solutions. And so I will try to explain you how we do this. Well, I suppose you know that 2 years ago, 200 global leaders in Paris promised to limit global warming by less than 2 degrees Celsius by the end of the century. But 2 months ago, again in Paris, the French President Emmanuel Macron says that we are losing this battle, that we are not going enough fast. I'm sure that all of you know which is the heart of the problem. It's energy. Fortunately, some of those leaders are still committed with climate change. And in fact, most of them are developing energy transitions process. So to understand what means this new energy paradigm, I'm going to try to tell you that imagine that now you are in a political fiction contest, so it won't be real, because it's politicians, so it won't be real. So this is a contest, and there will be 3 participants. They are one of those leaders that went to Paris 2 years ago, and they will have a challenge. The challenge will be this: to solve an equation, to identify and solve an equation, the one that is 100% decarbonized, secure, and affordable energy system. We have about 30 years to design the way to arrive here. So our equation has to do this. Who will be the participants? Well, the first one will be Jerry Brown. He is the governor of California. The second one will be Angela Merkel. She's the Chancellor of Germany. And the third one will be Mariano Rajoy, the Spain's Prime Minister. As you know, their degrees are not equal, so it won't be difficult that they will do. The first one is California. Jerry Brown says that they are taking advantage of the dramatic drop of the solar PV panels. So now they are investing a lot in this technology, but they are doing something that is quite not so intelligent. They are dimensioning the plants for the shortest day of the year, because it's very cheap. But then what happens on the summer solstice? They have quite a lot of problems, but not only that day, in all summer and even in spring, they have an excess of production. So what they have to do with it? Well, the first thing that happens is that the wholesale market prices go down. They go zero or even negative prices. So this is a problem. And of course, at night, there is no sun. So they need to run coal plants. So here the first problem. Germany, it's more or less the same. In Germany, Angela Merkel is leading the energy Wende. It's a strong strategy that the first thing that it's going to do is to phase out all nuclear power by 2022. So now they are investing a lot in renewables energy, but they have the same problem as California. The wholesale market prices are going down for long periods and even negative. So this is not good, because here there are some investors. Then the payback is quite complicated. So that's not good at all, again. What happens? Remember that we are trying to solve an equation. Happens is a physics problem. Renewables are intermittent. So one thing to be considered on the equation. Now, Mariano Rajoy, as you probably know, he is now involved in a new law about climate change and energy transition. But he has a problem even with water. You know that water can be storage. But we are having severe droughts. So the storage, we have a lack of water storage too. Then we need to use coal, and this is expensive. And what is happening now, it's the opposite of what happens in Germany and in California. When we use coal, the prices are very high. And when we use wind, the prices are very low. So, for example, the same day as today, but the last year, the prices last year were 50% more expensive than they are now. So, citizens complain. And Rajoy only can tell them, I'm sorry, I cannot do anything. I cannot make rain. So, another problem, that one. I suppose that when you see this, all of us know that this is a problem. So if there is a lack of water, call again. So expensive. Okay, so if there is intermittent and there is no storage, the equation won't be so simple. It will be something that is on demand. So to understand how does it works, the electricity system, let me introduce you someone else. It's the Thomas Edison. I suppose that most of you will be astonished because he's a ghost, of course. But remember, this is not real, so we can have here a ghost. But you should be astonished for something else. He will explain us how the electricity system works. He was born in the 19th century, and you are digital generation. But he will explain us. Why? Because look, most of the generation that we are already having at this moment, it's mainly relies on a technology that already has 200 years, the steam machine. Coal, gas, fuel, steam machine that is here. And something else, the grid that he designed 100 years ago, it's mainly the same as the one that we are using now at this moment. So he's the perfect ghost to explain us how does it works. Look, we have a flexible generation, coal, gas, fuel. All these fuels, all these fossil fuels, we have already stored them. And we can turn on and turn off these plants when we want. In half an hour and an hour, they can be on the system. And on the other side, we have the inflexible demand, so all of us. Citizens, services, industries. The system doesn't recognize us, because it can see us. It can see only if we are together, but not as individual consumers. So all of us do more or less the same every day. So we go to sleep, so we don't consume. We wake up, we start consuming. So this is more or less the curve that we use. So to match them, because remember, there is no storage, so it's an on-demand product, to match them, we need to manage flexible generation. We cannot manage inflexible demand. And of course, there is something else in this model, the nuclear power, that of course it was not on the Thomas Edison age, but it doesn't matter because it's not flexible. So it's a constant in this equation, so it doesn't matter. So this is quite easy. Remember that by Thomas Edison age, he has no computers, and he could run this. So it was not so complicated. Now, Mariano Rajoy wants to explain something because he doesn't agree with Thomas Edison. Because he says that's not really true, because in Spain, we already have 40% of our electricity that is renewable. So we are starting to incorporate on the system inflexible generation. Remember, there is no storage, they are intermittent, so they are not flexible at all. And on the other side, we still have inflexible demand. So how can we match them? The solution, probably you know, in the first part of the century has been this one. Remember that in the 2020, we need to have 20% of renewable energies. That means that in electricity, it's about 40. The way to do it is with flexible capacity. So again, gas and coal. So this is what we have done. Gas and coal. So this is going to be quite expensive because remember, the wholesale prices, the prices on the market are going down. And this is expensive and we need to pay them. So we need to find a way to pay this infrastructure. And now Angela Merkel says, but the problem is being even worse than this. Because in the 2030, the European Parliament last month approved that the new objective is 35%. So that means that we will need more flexible capacity because all of this will be inflexible. So again, much more gas, much more coal, and probably storage too. So what does it mean really? It's not only generation plants. If we need gas, we need to another infrastructures like pipelines, gas storage, regasification plants. We will need to build all of this. How to pay this? Both are discussing about something which is called the capacity payments. So we need to decide how to pay this. But Europe, it's not agree with them because this looks like a subsidy for fossil fuels. So this is a discussion that there is here. Now, Thomas Edison again says that he is going, that he can't help us anymore because probably this system will be decarbonized and it will be secure because we will have a lot of redundancy. But it will be unaffordable. It will collapse. So he's going. He cannot help. But he's going to advise them. It will be better for you to try to reinvent the grid. You are in the 21st century. This is not the way. So he's going. Now someone else comes to our contest. It could be someone like you. It's a millennial. He doesn't know nothing about this, but he says that he has already bought an electric car. And his friends are trying to do the same. And he has a battery. It's 60 kilowatts hour. But some of their friends want to buy a car that is 90 kilowatts hour. And he only uses 10 kilowatts hour per day. And now he has implemented a new technology, which is the V2G. That means that the electricity on their car can go to the grid. So he's trying to make a business. But it won't be only this car. Probably in 10, 20, 30 years, there will be an enormous number of electric cars with V2G technologies. So remember, 60 kilowatt hours. You only need 10 of them. So which is the capacity of this having a storage? Immense. Not only this, because this will be quite easy to unplug, plug, depending on the price of the market. So this will happen. Something else. He will incorporate a solar PV roof in his house because it's being very cheap. And depending on the estate where he lives, he will have incentives for batteries because this is the way that having a more efficient system. Then he will have also a very efficient heating system with a smart thermostat that can also interact with the grid. So if we have this is not an inflexible demand. This is flexible demand. So if we have flexible demand and inflexible generation, why do we need all of this in the middle? Remember, We are not Thomas Edison. We have a huge computers with a high capacity of computing. So we need to use them. So probably we will need to invest in all of those things. So we need to take care of this because we are trying to solve an equation, remember. And if we have a bad political decision, this will be very expensive. And probably you know who will pay this, you. So if politicals have bad decisions because they don't understand this, I must tell you that you will pay it for a long period because this is very expensive, and not it's only expensive, it's not sustainable at all. So let's happen. What will happen with them? Now all of them have enough information, so they will solve the equation. The Spanish team will use a centralized economy. The German team will use a sharing economy. And the Californian team, they will use the high-tech economy. With this economic model, they will solve the equation, and it will be completely different. And all of them are energy transition. The first one, the Spain ecosystem. What we will have here? Big corporations that they are willing to invest in new energies, 100-year utilities, just a few that own the grid, so it's easy to understand with them. Traditional banking that also wants to invest in renewables energy and wants to invest in pipelines and also wants to invest in new gas plants, so they are here too. And of course, a policy regulation, because remember that I told you that we need to pay all of this. So it's important to define the system to recover the investment. So we will have also policy regulation. So this is our equation. It's an endless inflexible demand growth. We already know this. We've seen it not only in energy, we've seen it also in roads, in trains. So that means that we need also to increment power generation. Endless increment. So that means that we need coal, nuclear, gas, much more renewables, of course, gas again, and big batteries. So, ready to pay all of this? And what happens with this? Distributed energy. Emmanuel says that not all governments are in favor. Yes, we are not in favor. We have sun tax, battery tax, forbidden shared energy. So this is not going to happen. Germany ecosystem. Well, post-Erasmus generations, more than 900 cooperative local energy communities, aggregators, local markets. So this is a sharing economy. That's the algorithm of the energy vendor. It also grows, of course, because the economy is going to electrify, but they are going to phase out nuclear power, so they will increase much more renewables. They also will increase batteries, but not only big batteries, also little ones. They have a very interesting program of incentives to distributed energy. So probably they will stabilize the demand. What will happen with electric cars here? We don't know it. Because as you probably know, some of you are from Germany, there is a quite pressure with the automakers that they are keen on diesel, not on electric cars. So we will see what will happen here. So the Californian system, Silicon Valley entrepreneurs, new systems to finance projects like crowdfunding, a distributed platform to new business like blockchain, not Bitcoin, blockchain, big data, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, so capacity, computational capacity. So this will be quite different. This is the algorithm of California. It's not only going to increase, it's going to decrease. Why? Because there is a lot of storage, a lot of management from the flexible side of the demand. So this is the digital technology. And what we are seeing now at this moment, look, Google is in a project of sunroofs, the Tesla Gigafactory, so all of this, it's going. And what happens in the ecosystem of Catalonia? Of course, we are in Spain. But we think that we need to introduce the demand revolution. So power of citizens. Why? Because young generations, so most of you, will have a lot of challenges, but most of them are connected with one, which is energy. So global warming, pollution, poverty, immigration. So you will need to solve this equation. If our government doesn't do it, you will need to solve it. So you are in the middle of these new energy systems. How we will try to do it? Trying that you have the hardware. What is the hardware here? It's a PV roof, electrical vehicles, storage at home, smart grids. So the grid of Thomas Edison, we have to say goodbye to that grid. With all of this, we are sure that new companies will come with software. But now we need hardware. And is it possible to do this? And this is what we are doing now as Institut Català d'Energia. We are investing in the fast charge infrastructure for EVs. Most of the infrastructure that is around Catalonia has been implemented by ICAIN. We are also giving an incentive for those people who already has a solar roof, but the incentive is not for solar PV, it's for the battery. We are also in projects with utility companies with microgrids, intelligent microgrids. And of course, we have approved a law of climate change, but not only this. We have also approved an agreement of energy transition, which is the picture of the energy transition, that one. Oh, sorry. Well, okay, it doesn't matter. Well, okay. Oh, yes, wait. That one. It's the picture of the energy transition for us. Who lives in this house? The citizen. Who belongs to this car? The citizen. And the solar PV, the citizen again. And a smart grid with two directions, not with one, with two directions. So we think that this is the way. And we will try to do it. It will be difficult, we know it. But we think this is a good decision because we are sure that bad decisions are very expensive in the world of energy. So we will try to do it a good decision. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.